Imagine this scenario. You're giving a presentation and everything is just flowing. The audience is engaged, they're asking questions, you know it's going well. And then one person points out a mistake or something negative. And instead of focusing on all the positive, afterwards your mind just holds on to that one negative comment. Why? Why does our mind do this? Part of this is built into simply how humans process information. And another part of it is just specifically found in people with anxiety. First, our brain has a bias to pay attention to threatening stimuli. And this has been demonstrated over and over again in people who have anxiety and people who don't have anxiety. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Our brains should pay attention to information that threatens our survival. We also process this information really quickly. What differs about people with anxiety is that we also pick up threatening stimuli that is outside the conscious awareness, whereas our non-anxious friends don't. So we're picking up on the frown of the person on the person's face, just in our periphery, whereas they don't even notice it. And non-anxious adults actually have an attentional bias for positive, rewarding stimuli, whereas this response is dampened in people with anxiety, even to positive stimuli like happy faces. And this difference between anxious and non-anxious people likely started before we even knew what the word anxiety was. Scientists believe that there is a genetic difference in how our brains react to anxiety, that it's more heightened in people with anxiety. And that predisposition combined with stress in childhood creates just a really good case of the anxieties, unfortunately. It makes sense why our minds are designed to pay attention to threatening stimuli in the environment. But there is something that we can do about it. We know that the threats in the environment that overthinkers and overachievers are going to focus on are things like what's wrong with their work, threats of failure, or being fired, or people ridiculing their work, or areas that they don't have control over. What understanding this attentional bias does for us is it tells us that it has to be effortful to change it. It has to be a conscious effort. There are 3 simple things you can do right now to start changing this. Number 1 is practicing gratitude or finding delights. If you start your day with the intention to find at least 3 things that you're grateful for or find delight, you're practicing shifting your attention to positive and rewarding stimuli rather than the negative that we normally do. Number 2, practicing mindful meditation. Research has shown that practicing mindful meditation helps shift our attention bias from the negative and threatening stimuli to more of having a bias towards positive stimuli. This is with intentional, regular practice. Number 3 is practicing intentionally switching your attention. So when you find that your mind is stuck on threat or negative information, take a bird's eye view or do like some mental time travel. For a bird's eye view, this means taking a broader perspective, like literally pulling yourself outside of your body and being an observer and seeing what somebody from a different perspective might see. Mental time travel refers to imagining yourself in a safe or rewarding situation. So with our example of the presentation, you can imagine receiving accolades or compliments on your presentation. Remember, the goal of these perspective shifts is not to buy into these thoughts, but rather to practice shifting your attention from threat to reward. Take a look at this video for more long-term strategies on how to manage your anxiety, and I'll put another one at the end of this video on how to get unstuck from your thoughts. How do you try to shift your attention from threat to positive things? Let me know in the comments below. Hope this was helpful.